There comes a moment in every life when the invisible world becomes louder than the visible, when something within you whispers, "You were made for more than this moment." This whisper is not imagination in the ordinary sense. It is God revealing that He has already begun to move things in your favor. You may look at your life and say nothing seems to be changing. But hear this truth: God always moves in the unseen before He manifests in the seen. The shift you feel, the unrest, the desire, the vision, these are not accidents. They are divine signals announcing that something has already been released on your behalf. The world tells you to wait for proof, but God gives you a different kind of evidence. He gives you desire, and the desire is not a craving, it is confirmation. It is God's voice saying, "What you seek is already yours. Walk toward it." You are not waiting for the blessing. The blessing is waiting for you to align with it. Every time you imagine a better life, every time you rehearse a new version of yourself in your mind, you are shaping reality. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop of God. It is the place where unseen things begin to take form. Eating, if only you knew what was happening behind the scenes on your behalf, you would never doubt again. When doors closed in your life, you assumed you were rejected. But heaven has no rejections, only redirections. What left you was never meant to carry you into your next chapter. God removed it because your destiny required it. And then, in moments you did not expect, help began to show up. A conversation, a connection, an opportunity, a shift in timing. None of it was random. It was divine choreography. God was placing people in the right positions, touching hearts, moving resources, softening circumstances, all for one purpose: your favor. Some of you have felt delayed, but delay is not divine punishment. Delay simply means God is arranging the stage so when the blessing arrives, nothing and no one can interfere with it. Timing is the final proof that God is involved. Look closely at your life today. You will see traces, evidence, fingerprints of a God who has been moving things long before you asked, long before you prayed, long before you even knew what you needed. Your desire, your vision, your inner shift, the closed doors, the unexpected help, all of it is proof. So lift your head, walk with confidence, step into your next season knowing this one truth: God is not preparing the blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. And right now, in ways you cannot yet see, everything is moving in your favor. Your inner state is the quiet birthplace of every outer transformation that unfolds in your life. Long before you see the shift in your circumstances, long before opportunities appear, long before people step in to help you, something moves within you. This inward movement is not random. It is the first undeniable proof that God has already begun aligning external events in your favor. The world often insists that change begins from the outside, but the truth is the opposite. Everything in your life starts with a shift in consciousness. There are moments when you feel a new desire rising, almost out of nowhere. A longing for a better life, a clearer direction, a deeper sense of purpose. That desire is not simply emotional, it is divine communication. It is God awakening your spirit to something that is already prepared for you. The desire itself is evidence that the blessing exists. You could not want what was not already possible. You could not imagine what was not already forming in the unseen. Your inner state receives the signal first, long before your outer world catches up. When God begins moving things in your favor, He doesn't start by changing the circumstances around you. He starts by changing you. He strengthens your faith. He expands your vision. He awakens a sense of expectancy. This shift is gentle yet powerful. You begin to think differently, feel differently, walk differently. You notice that your old fears no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. The limitations you once accepted no longer hold the same weight. This is the moment where the miracle quietly begins. Your inner alignment becomes the magnet for divine orchestration. As your thoughts rise, so does your reality. As your state shifts, so do the events in your life. You start attracting opportunities that match your new inner condition. People appear who are aligned with your growth. Conversations open doors, resources come unexpectedly. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual law in motion. God works through your inner transformation to rearrange the outer world. Think of your inner state as the soil and God's promise as the seed. When the soil is ready, when you are aligned, receptive, expectant, the seed begins to grow. You may not see it at first. The growth happens underground, unseen, hidden. But the activity is real, and the proof is the subtle shift you feel in your spirit. Faith feels more natural. Hope feels more stable. Peace feels more accessible. That is the divine movement beginning to sprout. Every breakthrough in your life begins with an internal awakening. It is the moment you sense that life is about to change, even though nothing external has changed yet. This feeling is the spiritual confirmation that God has already gone before you. Your heart knows the blessing is on its way before your eyes do. So trust that internal shift. Believe the subtle whisper that says something good is coming. That whisper is not imagination. It is the announcement of divine alignment. When God is moving things in your favor, the first place you will see it is within you. The inner change is the evidence, the seed, the beginning of everything that will soon manifest in your world. What you consistently imagine becomes the silent architect of your future. Most people shrug off imagination as fantasy or wishful thinking, but imagination is far more sacred and far more powerful than that. It is the invisible workshop where God begins to shape the very path you will soon walk. Every image you hold, every scene you rehearse, every outcome you emotionally feel in your mind becomes a blueprint for your outer life. What you imagine is not a mere picture. It is a spiritual command, a signal that sets reality into motion. When you allow your mind to dwell deliberately on a desired end, you activate a divine partnership. God placed imagination within you not as a toy, but as a tool. It is the mechanism through which spiritual intention becomes physical manifestation. The outer world is not the origin of your experiences. It is the reflection of the inner images you have nurtured and believed. Without realizing it, you are constantly shaping tomorrow by the visions you entertain today. This is why consistent imagination is so potent. One fleeting thought may pass without impact, but a scene revisited over and over again is like carving a path through dense forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and more inevitable it becomes. When you imagine something repeatedly, you are training your inner world to accept that outcome as real. And once your inner world accepts it, life begins rearranging itself to match your new mental reality. Imagination is not passive. It summons the right people, aligns the right timing, and attracts the right opportunities. It dissolves obstacles you didn't even know were in your way. It influences your behavior, your decisions, and your sense of expectation without your conscious effort. You begin walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently, because your inner vision is already living in the future you desire. This inner alignment becomes the magnetic force that pulls the outer world into harmony with it. When you imagine consistently, you are not escaping reality, you are preparing it. You are rehearsing the world God is guiding you toward. You are stepping into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, knowing that the emotional experience is the bridge through which the unseen becomes seen. Emotions fuel imagination, and imagination fuels creation. The heart and mind together create a spiritual frequency that heaven responds to. Think of imagination as divine permission. If you can hold the image long enough, if you can feel its truth deeply enough, God begins to orchestrate circumstances to match the picture you've embraced. Conversations shift, doors open, directions change. Seemingly random events align perfectly, revealing that nothing was random at all. Your imagination was planting seeds and God was watering them in silence. Every great transformation begins as an unseen image. Every breakthrough is born in a quiet moment when you allow yourself to envision something greater, and every blessing that appears in your life begins first as a picture formed in the sanctuary of your mind. So guard your imagination. Feed it with the life you want, not the life you fear. Embrace the truth that what you imagine consistently is already taking shape, already being built, already being prepared for you. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the creative force through which God shapes your path and writes your destiny. There are moments in life when a door closes so suddenly, so unexpectedly, that it leaves you questioning everything. You may feel abandoned, overlooked, or pushed aside. But what appears as rejection from the outside is often divine orchestration from within. Closed doors are never God's way of saying, "You are not worthy." They are His way of saying, "This is not the path that leads to your destiny." When you see a door closed, it is not the path that leads to your destiny. When something leaves your life, whether it is a person, a job, an opportunity, or a dream you held tightly, it is not a sign of divine disfavor. It is evidence that you are being redirected towards something far better than what you were willing to settle for. Every closed door is a form of protection. You may not recognize it in the moment, but God sees the full picture. The intentions you couldn't see, the consequences you didn't foresee, the timing you didn't understand. You might view the door as a pathway to something good, while God knows that it would have led you into confusion, stagnation, or unnecessary pain. Sometimes He closes a door not to take something from you, but to take you away from something that would have hindered your growth or delayed your purpose. The truth is that we cling to what is familiar even when it no longer serves us. We hold on to relationships that have expired, environments that limit us, or opportunities that underpay our potential. And when God closes the door, we grieve because we focus on what we lost instead of what we're being led toward. But if you look closely, you will realize that every time a door closed in your life, something greater eventually replaced it. Something that aligned better with your calling, your identity, your healing, and your future. Closed doors are also divine timing at work. What you think you want right now may not be what you are prepared to handle. God will not allow you to walk into a room you are not yet ready to manage. A delay is often a strategy. The door may open later, but at a moment when you are stronger, wiser, and more capable of holding the blessing without losing yourself in the process. The door that is closed today may become the door that saves you tomorrow. Sometimes the redirection is subtle. A plan falls apart, a conversation doesn't happen, something you expected doesn't come through. Other times it is dramatic. A relationship ends, a job disappears, a place you depended on becomes unavailable. Either way, the redirection is purposeful. God shifts things so that your life rises to match the future He has prepared for you. The door that closes is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new alignment. And if you pay attention, you will notice that closed doors often lead you to unexpected opportunities. What you thought was a setback becomes the turning point. What felt like loss becomes liberation. What seemed like rejection becomes redirection toward a blessing that carries more peace, more growth, more fulfillment, and more purpose. So when a door closes, don't mourn it as failure. Recognize it as divine movement. Trust that something is shifting in your favor, even when you cannot see it. What leaves your life is never meant to diminish you. It is meant to clear the path so you can walk boldly into the next chapter God has already prepared. There are seasons in your journey when help arrives from places you never expected, through people you barely knew, and in moments you didn't anticipate. This help is not accidental. It is not coincidence. It is a sign of invisible intervention, proof that God is working behind the scenes, aligning the right connections, and preparing the right circumstances for your elevation. When you begin to see unexpected support showing up in your life, understand this truth. You have entered a chapter where heaven is actively participating in your progress. Often you don't see the divine strategy until after the blessing unfolds. You think a person simply happened to cross your path or a door just happened to open at the right moment. But nothing is random when God is involved. Every connection has purpose. Every opportunity is orchestrated. Every resource is positioned with intention. God uses people as vessels, timing as a tool, and circumstances as pieces of a larger puzzle to guide you exactly where you need to go. Sometimes the help arrives quietly. Someone gives you advice that shifts your perspective, a stranger offers information that leads you to breakthrough, or a friend encourages you at the exact moment you are ready to quit. Other times, it arrives dramatically. A job offer you didn't apply for, a financial opportunity that appears out of nowhere, or a person stepping in to open a door you couldn't open on your own. These moments are not luck. They are divine fingerprints. God moves through people because elevation is rarely a solitary journey. The blessing you are walking into often requires the hands, voices, and decisions of others. This is why He places you in the right environments, prepares the hearts of those who will help you, and aligns their timing with your destiny. Someone thinks of you unexpectedly. Someone recommends you without being asked. Someone invests in your potential even when you feel unprepared. This is God whispering your name into rooms you haven't entered yet. You may wonder why certain people show up in your life suddenly, offering support, favor, or opportunities. It's because your spirit has shifted into alignment with a new season, and God responds to that shift by bringing in the individuals who carry the next piece of your puzzle. These helpers are not always permanent. Some appear only for a moment, just long enough to lift you into your next level. They are divine appointments disguised as everyday interactions. Even resources appear when God is elevating you. Money comes unexpectedly, information finds you at the right time, doors you never knocked on open wide, ideas flow effortlessly. These resources are confirmations that heaven is invested in your journey. The path ahead requires provision, and God ensures you have what you need precisely when you need it. Elevation is never accidental. It is prepared, it is supported, it is guided from above. And the unexpected help that shows up in your life is the evidence. So when people appear with kindness, when opportunities arrive without explanation, when resources come without struggle, recognize the intervention behind it. God is arranging your steps, preparing your rise, and ushering you into a future that requires support from beyond your own strength. Unexpected help is not a coincidence. It is a divine signal that your life is shifting upward, and heaven is making sure nothing stands in your way. There are moments when life seems to move slower than your prayers, when doors don't open as quickly as you hoped, and when blessings feel like they are taking too long to arrive. In those seasons, it is easy to assume something is wrong, that you are forgotten, overlooked, or somehow off course. But delay is rarely a sign of denial. More often, it is a divine strategy. Timing is not working against you. Timing is being meticulously aligned to maximize your blessing. What feels like waiting is actually preparation, protection, and positioning for something far greater than what you asked for. A miracle is never rushed. A miracle is constructed, and construction takes time. There are layers to your blessing that you cannot see yet. There are people being prepared, circumstances being reshaped, environments being arranged, and opportunities being formed behind the scenes. God is not simply giving you what you desire. He is preparing the version of the blessing that fits the fullness of who you are becoming. A premature blessing can become a burden, and a rushed miracle can collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. That is why divine timing matters. In delay, God is shaping you. He is developing patience, deepening your faith, cleansing your intentions, sharpening your discernment, and enlarging your capacity. You are not being stalled, you are being strengthened. What you are waiting for requires a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you, a version that can receive without fear, sustain without breaking, and multiply without losing identity. The delay also protects you from unseen dangers. Sometimes the timing is not wrong, the environment is. The people connected to the blessing are not ready yet. The place you desire to go is not stable yet. Or the path you're asking for would lead you into harm if you took it too soon. God sees what you do not see. He knows what you're walking toward long before you arrive. So he slows you down, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Divine delay also aligns opportunities in ways you could never design yourself. Think of all the seemingly random events that must intersect perfectly for a breakthrough to manifest. Someone has to leave a position for you to step into it. A conversation has to take place at the right moment. A door has to unlock from the inside before you can walk through it. These alignments take time, and God orchestrates them with precision.
And always cause used to walk out because
The timing of your blessing is not incidental, it is intentional. And when it arrives, it will not be fragile or temporary, it will be whole, complete, and undeniable. You will look back and realize the waiting was not wasted time, it was essential time. It was the season in which you were being shaped into the person capable of carrying what you asked for. The miracle you seek is not delayed, it is being curated. Every day of waiting is a day of divine preparation. And when the timing finally aligns, the blessing will appear effortlessly, as if it had been waiting for you all along. Desire is one of the most misunderstood spiritual signals in human life. Many people treat their desires as random emotions or fleeting wishes, but true desire, the kind that settles in your heart and refuses to leave, is something far deeper. It is not simply your longing, it is God's whisper. It is the inner confirmation that what you seek has already been prepared for you in the unseen. You do not desire what is impossible for you, you desire what is already aligned with your destiny. The moment a genuine desire is born in you, it carries its own evidence. The longing itself is the proof. You feel pulled toward a future that your outer life has not yet caught up with, yet something within you recognizes it as real. This is because desire is not created by external circumstances. It comes from the divine blueprint within your spirit. It is the soul remembering what God has already designed for you. Desire is God's way of speaking to you without words. It is His method of turning your attention toward the next chapter of your purpose. He places the feeling before the manifestation so your inner world can begin to prepare for what is coming. Every time you feel the tug of a dream, the ache for something more, the quiet yearning for a high level of life, you are not being teased, you are being informed. You might not see the blessing yet, but the blessing sees you. It is already in motion, already forming, already waiting for the right moment to enter your life. Desire is the bridge that connects you to it. The purpose of desire is not to frustrate you, it is to guide you. It influences your decisions, shifts your focus, stretches your imagination, and expands your faith. It prepares you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the life you are being called into. Many people ignore their desires because they fear disappointment. But the very desire you fear is the one that confirms fulfillment. Fear appears only because the desire touches something sacred, something connected to your true purpose. Desires that come from ego disappear quickly. Desires that come from God remain. They grow, they deepen. They pull you forward even when circumstances seem unchanged. When you embrace your desire, you align yourself with the path prepared for you. You begin to notice opportunities that match your longing. You attract people who support your vision. Your inner state shifts, and life begins rearranging itself to meet your expectation. This is not imagination, it is spiritual law. Desire is never given without the means for fulfillment. The longing is the seed. and God provides everything required to grow it into reality. The timing, the connections, the resources, the ideas, they come because they are already attached to the desire itself. So do not dismiss what you long for. Listen to it, honor it, follow it. The desire placed within you is the evidence that the blessing already exists. What your heart seeks is not a fantasy, it is a preview. And your longing is God's way of saying, "This is yours. Move toward it. I have already prepared it for you." Your desire is not the beginning of the blessing, it is the revelation of it. Recognize it as the spiritual proof that fulfillment is already on its way. There comes a point in every journey when you realize that nothing in your life has been random. The shifts within you, the visions you hold, the doors that closed, the unexpected help that appeared, the delays that shaped you, and the desires that refused to let go, all of it has been divine movement. God has been orchestrating your path with precision, aligning every experience to lift you into the life He prepared long before you even imagined it. You are not walking into your future alone. You are being guided, supported, redirected, and strengthened at every step. And as you look back, you will see the unmistakable pattern of grace woven through your entire story. Everything is working for your good, not by chance, but by divine intention. So step into your next chapter with confidence. Trust the unseen hand that has never stopped moving things in your favor. Believe that the best days of your life are not far away. They are already unfolding. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you for allowing these words to speak life into your spirit. May you walk forward, knowing that God's favor is already ahead of you. There comes a time when your faith is tested beyond what seems bearable. You look around and nothing seems to move. Nothing seems to change. You pray, you wait, and still the evidence looks the same. But I came to tell you today, in 7 days, everything can change. Not because of time itself, but because faith transforms the invisible into the visible. 7 days is a divine pattern. It's not a countdown of hours. It's a spiritual cycle of completion. In 7 days, God created the heavens and the earth. But the true creation wasn't about forming matter, it was about forming awareness. When your awareness aligns with the finished work, the outer world must obey the inner vision. You may say, "But I've waited for months, for years. How can everything change in just 7 days?" My friend, it changes the moment you change your assumption. It takes one decision, one shift to open the floodgates of divine favor. The 7 days are not for God to work. They are for you to believe completely that the work is already done. For the next 7 days, live as though your desire has already manifested. Walk, speak, and feel as one who already possesses it. When doubt whispers, answer it with faith. When fear rises, silence it with gratitude. The miracle you are waiting for is not coming from the outside. It is unfolding through your belief. You see, giving up is easy when the evidence contradicts your dream. But the moment you decide not to give up, you step into a higher law, the law of faith. The outer world must bend to the inner conviction of one who refuses to surrender. The unseen forces begin to align in your favor. Doors that were closed start to open. People begin to appear. Opportunities unfold, and situations rearrange themselves in ways that defy logic. Don't look for signs of change, be the sign. Speak as though it is done. Feel as though it is real. Live as though you've already received it. That feeling, that inner knowing, is your prayer in action. And when your inner speech is consistent with your desired end, the universe must reflect it. Maybe you've been in a season of waiting, of pain, of confusion. But listen carefully. Your waiting is over when your believing begins. The moment you surrender the struggle and rest in the assurance of God's promise, change starts moving toward you with divine speed. So hold on. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. What seems delayed is not denied. It's aligning. Your faith has already prepared the way. In 7 days, not 7 ordinary days, but 7 days of unwavering belief, you will see evidence of the shift. Not because time works miracles, but because faith transcends time. Walk in that awareness. Speak your victory now. Rejoice as if it's done, because it is done. The change you've been praying for is already finished in the unseen. Now it's only unfolding before your eyes. So don't give up. In these next 7 days, choose faith over fear, persistence over doubt, gratitude over complaint. Watch as the invisible hand of God turns everything around for your good. Because when you believe, truly believe, God doesn't need years, He only needs your yes. And in 7 days, your yes can change everything. Faith is not a wish, nor is it a passive hope that something might happen someday. Faith is the living awareness that what you have believed within already exists in a higher realm of reality, waiting only for your recognition to appear. You are not waiting for change to arrive, you are conceiving it in the womb of your imagination. Everything you see around you today is the result of a form of belief, something you once accepted as true about yourself or your world. The outer life you live is the reflection of your inner assumptions. Most people live as though the outer world has authority over their destiny, as if circumstances decide who they can become or what they can achieve. But faith reverses that order. Faith declares that the inner world governs the outer. What you hold as truth in your consciousness becomes the pattern the world must follow. Faith is the invisible cause, and your reality is the visible effect. When you understand this, you stop chasing outcomes and begin cultivating belief. You realize that your job is not to make things happen, but to awaken to the truth that they are already complete in God's realm. To believe is to receive inwardly before it is seen outwardly. The moment you accept something as true in your inner being, creation begins its silent work. The world around you starts to bend, shift, and rearrange itself to mirror your inner conviction. That is why faith is described as the evidence of things not seen. It is not blind belief, it is spiritual perception. It sees beyond appearances and holds fast to the invisible reality until it becomes visible. Faith does not struggle or strain, it rests in certainty. It knows that every seed contains its harvest. The same way a seed planted in soil already carries within it the blueprint of the tree, your belief carries within it the structure of the manifestation. You do not need to know how it will unfold. You only need to maintain the inner picture of completion. Every time you imagine the end and feel it real, you water the seed of faith, and life itself conspires to bring it forth. This is why waiting in fear, doubt, or anxiety blocks manifestation. When you wait, you imply separation between you and what you desire. When you conceive, you affirm unity. You and your desire are one. Faith collapses the distance between the unseen and the seen. It declares it is done and rests in that assurance. So if you wish to change your life, begin not with action but with awareness. Ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Because that belief is shaping the evidence that will soon appear. Faith does not create out of nothing. It reveals what has always been true but unseen. The moment you align your inner vision with your divine expectation, the outer world must bow to it. Everything begins within. What you believe within becomes the reality without. For faith is not waiting for change, faith is the very act of conceiving it. Transformation is not a matter of time, it is a matter of consciousness. Many believe that change takes months or years, but true transformation happens in a moment of deep inner alignment. When your mind, heart, and spirit agree on one reality, the outer world has no choice but to conform to it. The 7 days are not about counting hours or dates. They symbolize stages of inner alignment, the divine process through which the invisible becomes visible. Each day represents a deepening of awareness, a cleansing of doubt, and a renewal of vision. The idea of 7 days is sacred because it mirrors the pattern of divine completion. In spiritual symbolism, 7 represents wholeness, the cycle from conception to manifestation. Yet these 7 days do not need to be literal. They are symbolic of your journey from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from struggle to surrender. When your inner world becomes aligned with your divine identity, change happens swiftly, sometimes instantly. It is not that the universe suddenly moves faster. It is that you have finally stopped resisting the flow of what has already been prepared for you. Each of the 7 days can be seen as a stage of alignment. The first day begins with awareness, realizing that all creation begins within you. The second day brings separation, distinguishing truth from illusion, faith from fear. The third day is affirmation, declaring what is true despite appearances. The fourth day is rest, allowing divine order to take its course without interference. The fifth day is gratitude, giving thanks before seeing the evidence. The sixth day is embodiment, walking as if it is already done. And the seventh day is fulfillment, the outer manifestation of your inner conviction. This cycle is not about doing more, but becoming still enough to see clearly. When you stop fighting the outer conditions and turn inward, you begin to experience a shift. Old patterns lose their power. Limiting beliefs dissolve. You begin to feel a peace that doesn't depend on what's happening around you. That peace is the signal of alignment. It means that your heart and mind are now one with divine intention. Many people pray for change but remain inwardly divided. They say they believe, yet they worry, doubt, and speak against what they claim to expect. Such inner conflict delays the manifestation. But when your thoughts, emotions, and expectations move in harmony, when you truly believe the end is already accomplished, everything begins to unfold with divine precision. In these 7 symbolic days, you are not waiting for God to act. You are aligning yourself with what God has already finished. The moment your inner world agrees with the promise, time becomes irrelevant. Miracles are not delayed by divine hesitation, but by human resistance. Alignment removes that resistance and allows the flow of divine power to manifest effortlessly. So do not count the days, make the days count. Use each moment to bring your awareness back to truth. Transformation doesn't come by watching the clock, but by awakening to the eternal now. 7 days of alignment can do what 7 years of effort cannot, because alignment is not about time, it is about consciousness. Imagination is not fantasy, it is creation in its purest form. It is the womb from which every miracle is born. Before anything can exist in the outer world, it must first be conceived in the inner world of thought and feeling. Everything that has ever been made, every invention, discovery, or transformation began as an image held in someone's imagination. The visible world is nothing more than imagination made visible. When you understand this, you stop waiting for miracles and begin to give birth to them. What you consistently see and feel within yourself must eventually take form without, for imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Every time you imagine yourself as healed, prosperous, loved, or free, and feel it as true, you are shaping the unseen substance of reality. You are writing the script that life must play out. The world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your inner conviction. When your inner picture becomes vivid enough, when it feels real enough, the external world has no choice but to reflect it. Most people use their imagination unconsciously. They imagine what they fear, replay painful memories, and expect disappointment. Then they call it reality. But what they call reality is simply imagination that has been accepted as truth. The key to transformation lies in mastering this creative power, in choosing consciously what you will see and feel inwardly. Imagination is like fertile soil. It does not question the seed. It simply brings forth whatever is planted. If you plant images of faith, love, and abundance, the harvest must mirror your seed. When you imagine something with feeling, you awaken divine creative energy within you. Feeling is the language of the subconscious, and the subconscious is the doorway to manifestation. Thought alone is not enough. It must be saturated with emotion, conviction, and faith. When your imagination is charged with feeling, it moves from wishful thinking to creative knowing. You begin to sense that what you are imagining already exists in another dimension of reality, waiting only for your acceptance to appear here and now. Miracles are not exceptions to the natural order, they are expressions of higher law. When you imagine with faith, you align yourself with that higher law, the law of creation. The unseen realm begins to organize the visible world to match your vision. People, places, and opportunities start to shift. Circumstances rearrange themselves with a precision that defies logic. To the mind of reason, it looks miraculous, but to the mind of faith, it is simply the natural outcome of divine imagination. So guard your inner vision carefully. Do not use imagination to dwell on lack, fear, or failure. Use it to create the world you wish to live in. See yourself as you desire to be and feel it as if it were already true. Hold that image steadily until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. Then, without effort, life will mirror it. The outer world is only the echo of your inner song. Imagination is the womb of miracles, and every miracle you will ever experience is first born in the secret place within you. There is a sacred moment in every journey when the night seems darkest, the path feels longest, and faith feels weakest. It is the point where everything within you wants to surrender, to give up, to let go of the promise, to believe that nothing will ever change. But this moment of pressure is not the end, it is the threshold. The greatest pressure always comes before manifestation because the old reality is breaking apart and the new one is about to be born. You are standing between endings and beginnings, between what was and what is about to be. That tension is not punishment, it is preparation. Just before dawn, the sky is at its darkest. The silence feels endless, yet within that stillness, the first light is gathering strength. In the same way, when your faith is tested, when nothing seems to work, when doors remain closed, that is the sign that something unseen is shifting. The energy that once held you back is losing its grip, and the divine plan is taking shape behind the veil. You may not see it yet, but it is closer than you think. This is why you must not give up before the dawn. The moment you give up, you step out of alignment with what was about to appear. You interrupt the process that was nearly complete. Imagine a seed underground. For days, weeks, perhaps months, it remains unseen. Then, just before it breaks through the soil, it experiences its greatest resistance. It must push against the weight of the earth to reach the light. That final push is the hardest, but it is also the most necessary. So it is with your faith. The pressure you feel is not a sign that it's over. It's a sign that breakthrough is near. Keep your inner vision alive when the evidence seems silent. Keep speaking words of faith when fear whispers otherwise. Keep believing in the promise when nothing around you validates it. The universe is moved not by your struggle, but by your certainty. Your job is not to make the dawn arrive. Your job is to remain awake to it, to hold faith when it's hardest to see. Understand that divine timing is never late. The waiting is not wasted. Every delay is refining your faith, purifying your intention, and strengthening your spiritual muscles. The delay is teaching you to trust the unseen and to live beyond appearances. When you persist in faith, even through disappointment, you prove that your belief is not dependent on circumstances. That kind of faith cannot fail, for it is rooted in divine law. So breathe deeply, even in the darkness. Speak light into your own soul. Tell yourself, the dawn is coming, because it is, and when it comes, it will not come gradually. It will burst forth suddenly, brilliantly, completely. The night cannot hold back the morning, and your situation cannot resist divine order. Don't give up before the dawn, because the very moment you feel you can't go on is often the moment just before everything changes. Words are not merely sounds, they are forces of creation. Every word you speak carries a vibration, a seed that takes root in the unseen realm and produces fruit in your visible world. You may not see its effect immediately, but every declaration is a command to the universe, a spiritual decree shaping the course of your reality. When you speak as though it is done, you are not pretending, you are aligning your speech with divine truth. For in the higher realm of spirit, creation is already finished. From the beginning of time, creation has responded to the spoken word. Let there be light was not a request, but a decree, and light appeared. The same creative power that formed worlds lives within you, waiting for expression through your words. When you speak faith, you activate divine ardor. When you speak fear, or doubt, you disrupt it. Your tongue is the rudder of your life. It steers you toward fulfillment or frustration. Every word you utter is either affirming your destiny or delaying it. To speak as though it is done is to recognize that what you desire already exists in the unseen. You are not asking God to create something new. You are declaring what already is. You are not begging for the promise, you are claiming it. The end is already written, you are simply agreeing with it through your words. When you say, I am healed, even if the body feels weak, you are aligning with the truth of divine wholeness. When you declare, I am provided for, even if your resources look small, you are speaking from the reality where abundance already exists. Words infused with conviction shape your state of being. When you consistently affirm your desired end, you begin to feel it as true. That feeling is faith made tangible. It magnetizes the unseen forces that bring your words to life. You are not trying to make something happen. You are speaking from the awareness that it already has. The universe simply mirrors the vibration of your inner declaration. Be mindful then of idle or negative speech. Every complaint, every word of lack is a seed that will produce after its kind. The more you talk about what you don't want, the more you empower it. But when your words consistently reflect your desired reality, you become the living expression of divine creation. Your speech becomes prayer, your conversation becomes prophecy, and your declarations become destiny. So speak boldly, not timidly. Speak from the end, not the middle. Speak life, not limitation. Say it is done and mean it. Even if your senses deny it, let your spirit affirm it. Words spoken in faith carry authority. They call forth what already exists in the eternal. Creation is finished. It is complete. Your task is simply to declare what is already true until the world around you reflects it. Speak as though it is done, for your words are not waiting for evidence, they are creating it. You are not separated from divine power. You are its instrument, its vessel, its living expression. God is not distant, waiting somewhere beyond the clouds to intervene in your circumstances. God is the life that breathes through you, the intelligence that thinks through you, the love that feels through you. The same creative force that spoke the universe into existence dwells within your consciousness, waiting to be revealed through your awareness. When your awareness shifts, everything in your life begins to move in response. Miracles are not accidents, they are expressions of alignment. When your inner state matches the divine pattern, the miraculous becomes natural. You do not need to beg for God's favor, you need to awaken to it. The moment you realize that the presence is already within you, operating as you, the struggle ends. You stop searching outside and begin living from within. This inner awakening is the true miracle. Every event, every circumstance, every relationship in your life is a mirror of your awareness. If you feel lack, you will see lack reflected. If you dwell in peace, peace will surround you. The world cannot give you what you are unwilling to acknowledge within yourself. You are not waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to become aware of who you truly are, a channel of divine expression. When you change your inner conversation, your outer reality cannot remain the same. A window does not create light, it simply allows light to shine through. If the window is clean, light flows freely. If it is covered with dust or shadows, the light is still there, only blocked from view. In the same way, your awareness is the window through which divine power flows. Doubt, fear, and unworthiness are the dust that clouds the window. But the light of God has never stopped shining. The moment you cleanse your awareness by believing in your divine identity, by affirming love, peace, and faith, that light rushes in and transforms everything it touches. When you understand that God expresses through your awareness, you take responsibility for your state of being. You no longer blame circumstances or people. You realize that the outer world is an echo of your inner vibration. You stop pleading for a miracle and begin being the miracle. You walk with the quiet confidence that wherever you go, divine favor goes with you because it flows through you. This is the secret to transformation, not effort, but embodiment. The more you live from the awareness of your divine connection, the more effortlessly life aligns itself around you. The impossible becomes possible, not because you force it, but because you have become one with the source of all creation. You are the channel of the miracle. God's power does not move from afar. It moves through your faith, your words, your imagination, your awareness. When you shift inwardly, everything must shift outwardly. The moment you awaken to that truth, the miracle you seek is no longer something you wait for. It is something you live from. Every word of this message has been a reminder that divine transformation begins within you. Faith, imagination, alignment, and awareness are not separate from God's power. They are the instruments through which God moves. When you believe, you create. When you imagine, you give birth to miracles. When you align your heart with truth, the impossible becomes natural. And when you understand that God expresses through your awareness, you realize that you were never waiting for favor. Favor was waiting for you to awaken. In these 7 days of spiritual awakening, you are not chasing a miracle, you are becoming it. You are learning that what you see inwardly will soon appear outwardly. You are discovering that faith does not beg for change. It declares that change is already finished. You are remembering that darkness is never the end, but the sign that dawn is near. So hold on to your vision, speak life into your future, refuse to give up before the blessing unfolds. Walk as if everything you desire is already yours, because in the unseen realm, it already is. The God who began the work within you is completing it through your awareness, your words, your faith, and your surrender. Surrender. Everything is aligning. The shift is already in motion. You are standing on holy ground, the threshold of your own transformation. Believe it, feel it, and live from it. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for daring to awaken the divine within you. May your faith rise higher, your vision grow clearer, and may you witness in these coming days that God truly can change everything for you. So, until next time, be well. When you open your eyes in the morning, you are not just waking from sleep. You are awakening to creation itself. The dawn is not merely a new time, it is a sacred threshold between the unseen and the seen. In that quiet space, before the world begins to demand your attention, heaven listens to the vibration of your belief. What you assume in those early moments becomes the law of your day. To start your day with faith, is to align yourself with divine order. Faith is not hope, nor is it blind optimism. It is knowing. It is the still assurance that even when you cannot see the way is already made. Every situation, every delay, every encounter is being perfectly arranged by unseen intelligence to serve your good. The moment you believe this, you release yourself from fear. The external world may appear uncertain, but faith whispers it is already done. Your faith is the architect of your reality. It does not wait for proof, it gives birth to proof. What you hold in consciousness with conviction must eventually express itself in form. So, if you begin your morning affirming God is making everything work for me, you have already set into motion a chain of divine activity. Forces you cannot see begin to move. People are inspired, opportunities are arranged, and circumstances unfold in perfect timing, all responding to your inner assumption. Many rise each day reacting to what they see, but the awakened soul knows that the world is only a mirror. If you start your day with worry, the world reflects worry. But if you start your day with faith, the world bends to faith. The key is not to wait for external reassurance. The key is to know that your inner belief precedes your outer experience. Faith is the invisible cause behind visible effects. Before you step out into the noise of the day, find your stillness. Speak within yourself the language of certainty. Today, all things are working together for my good. Every delay is protection. Every challenge is a setup for increase. This inner decree becomes law, and creation obeys. God is not a distant being arranging your life from afar. He is the life within you, shaping reality through your faith-filled consciousness. Gratitude is the fragrance of faith. When you rise in the morning and give thanks for blessings not yet seen, you prove your trust in divine timing. Gratitude declares it is already mine, and as you move through your day in that vibration, heaven rushes to confirm your belief. You begin to notice that what once felt delayed suddenly flows with ease. What seemed against you was secretly preparing the way for something better. So today, begin with faith. Not the faith that waits for evidence, but the faith that creates it. Look at your reflection in the morning and remind yourself, the power that made me is the same power guiding my steps today. Nothing is random. Everything is working for me. Walk through this day knowing that divine intelligence is ahead of you, behind you, and within you. Every closed door redirects you, not rejects you. Every silence hides divine preparation. When faith is your first thought, peace becomes your companion, and miracles become your routine. Begin your day in faith, and you will discover that God has been working all along, arranging every detail, turning every shadow into light, and making everything work for you. Each morning arrives as a quiet, sacred gift, a threshold between the unseen and the seen. It is not merely the start of a new day, but the opening of a canvas so pure and unmarked that it responds to the first strokes of your consciousness. The moment you awaken, before the noise of the world begins to pull at your attention, you are in a space of infinite potential. This space is not ordinary. It is charged with the power to create, to shape your reality, and to align with the unseen forces that govern life. The morning offers you the rare opportunity to meet the day with clarity, intention, and faith, rather than reacting to circumstances as they appear. In those first quiet moments, your mind is like soft clay, ready to take the imprint of your inner belief. What you assume in this sacred time will echo throughout your day. If your mind fills with worry, doubt, or fear, the world will mirror these states. But if you rise with faith, with certainty that all is working for your good, you set in motion an invisible current that shapes your reality to match your assumption. This is the magic of mornings, the power to establish your state of consciousness before the world imposes its own rhythm. Every sunrise is a personal invitation from life itself. It whispers, "Here is another chance. Here is another beginning. Here is a moment to declare who you are and what you believe. No matter what yesterday held, today begins anew. The past, with its mistakes and limitations, does not dictate the present. Each morning you stand at the doorway of infinite possibilities. How you step into it, whether in fear, hesitation, or in faith and confidence, determines the pattern of your experiences. To embrace the sacredness of the morning is to recognize that life itself is responsive to consciousness. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of what you hold within. When you start your day intentionally, imagining, believing, and feeling that all things are aligned for your benefit, the universe responds. Opportunities present themselves, challenges dissolve more easily, and doors that seemed closed begin to open. The morning, therefore, is not just a time of day, it is a spiritual practice, a laboratory of creation, where faith becomes form. The morning invites stillness. In silence, without distraction, you connect with the deeper currents of life. Thoughts are freshest, belief is most potent, and imagination is alive with vivid possibility. In this sacred silence, you can plant the seeds of intention, gratitude, and trust, knowing that these seeds will grow into tangible experiences as the day unfolds. To honor the morning is to honor your own creative power. It is to understand that each day is a mirror, reflecting back to you the energy and assumption you bring to it. Therefore, awaken with reverence, not merely with routine. Let the first breath of day be a declaration of faith. Let your thoughts and emotions be guided by the certainty that all is orchestrated for your good. In this sacred moment, you are a co-creator with the unseen, a conscious architect of your reality. Each morning is not just another day. It is a divine invitation to step into your power, to shape your life from the inside out, and to witness the miraculous unfold before you. The moment you awaken, your mind is like fertile soil, ready to receive the seeds of thought and belief that will shape the experiences of your day. What you assume in those first moments is far more than fleeting thought. It is the blueprint for your reality. Consciousness is the soil, and faith is the seed. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, or worry, the day will sprout circumstances that reflect those states. But if you plant seeds of faith, certainty, and positive expectation, your external world will respond in kind. The day does not begin with the events you encounter. It begins with the assumptions you hold in your inner world. Everything you experience is a reflection of the state of your consciousness, for your outer world is always a mirror of your inner belief. Upon waking, your thoughts are most potent, least cluttered by the opinions, judgments, and distractions of others. This is the perfect time to consciously choose what you will believe about your day, about your life, and about yourself. You may not yet see the proof, but that does not diminish the power of your assumption. Faith is not waiting for evidence. It is the act of assuming the reality of what you desire before it manifests. To rise in the morning and declare within yourself that today is filled with opportunity, favor, and divine guidance is to set into motion forces that the senses cannot perceive, but that the universe cannot resist. The day unfolds to confirm what you assume in the quiet of your mind. The law is simple. Your outer world cannot rise above the nature of your inner convictions. If your first thoughts upon waking are aligned with fear, limitation, or negativity, the world will conform to that vibration. Conversely, if your first assumption is that all is working for you, that you are supported, guided, and favored, then the day will reflect those truths. This is not speculation, it is the natural response of consciousness. Life cannot contradict your inner reality. It is bound to mirror it. Therefore, every morning presents a choice: to assume consciously or to drift unconsciously. To assume consciously is to recognize the immense creative power you wield. When you awaken, you are not a passive participant in life, but an active architect of the circumstances that will manifest. Your beliefs, even before spoken or acted upon, have already begun to shape the trajectory of your day. By holding the thought, everything I encounter today is for my highest good, or I am guided and protected in every step I take, you establish a vibration that organizes events, people, and opportunities in harmony with your assumption. Faith is not a wish, it is a knowing. It is a deep inner certainty that your unseen world is aligning perfectly with your desire. By beginning your day in consciousness, by planting seeds of belief and expectation, you set a pattern that the day will inevitably follow. Your inner conviction is the hidden hand that shapes the visible world, and the morning is the sacred moment when you can consciously direct it. The quality of your assumptions upon waking determines the quality of your experiences. For life, in all its fullness, reflects only what you hold as true within. The presence of God in your life is not distant or inactive. It is a living force that moves in perfect harmony with your inner state. God does not act randomly or without reason, nor does divine intelligence work against your desires. Instead, God moves through the vibration of your belief, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities to reflect the reality you assume within. Your trust is not passive, it is an active instrument of creation. The very moment you believe that all things are working for your good, unseen forces respond. What appears as chance or coincidence is simply the divine orchestration of life aligning itself with the frequency of your faith. Belief is the channel through which divine power flows. When you trust fully, when you hold a conviction that your life is guided, your faith resonates with an unseen current that begins to move all things into place. Even before you take action, before events manifest outwardly, the spiritual forces are already arranging circumstances to match your inner vision. This is why faith is described as being the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is not about waiting for proof, but knowing that what you assume internally will inevitably manifest externally. The unseen hand of God is always at work, but it works most powerfully through the instrument of your inner conviction. Every challenge or obstacle that appears in life is not a random occurrence, but a part of divine intelligence responding to your level of faith. When you hold strong belief, even the difficulties are reshaped to serve you. They become opportunities, guidance, and stepping stones rather than hindrances. God moves not in contradiction to your belief, but in alignment with it. If your faith falters, the current slows. If your trust is unwavering, the invisible hand works swiftly to arrange everything in your favor. Circumstances are fluid, pliable, and responsive to the vibration you hold. Your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions create an energetic blueprint. God in the unseen realm moves in perfect correspondence with that blueprint. When you imagine, feel, and assume the life you desire, divine intelligence begins to rearrange every detail to conform to your inner state. People cross your path who reflect your belief, opportunities appear that match your expectation, and doors that were previously closed open without effort. This is the mystery of faith. The unseen moves first, responding to your inner conviction, and the visible world follows naturally. It is essential to understand that trust is not passive waiting, it is active alignment. It is the recognition that the creative power of the universe is already working on your behalf, shaping events to manifest the vision you hold within. The unseen hand of God is most potent when your belief is strongest, for it operates like a mirror, reflecting the exact nature of your faith. Your task is simple: cultivate unwavering trust, hold fast to the inner reality of your desire, and let God's invisible power orchestrate the outer reality. When you comprehend that God moves through your belief, life becomes a dance of co-creation. You are not powerless. You are a partner with the divine. Every thought of faith, every act of trust, every inner assumption becomes the lever that sets the universe in motion. Circumstances bend, challenges dissolve, and reality itself is shaped to match your inner vision. God's work is constant, perfect, and tireless, but it always responds to the vibration of your belief, transforming your inner certainty into outward manifestation. The power of assumption is one of the most profound truths of life, yet it is often overlooked. Everything begins in the realm of consciousness, and what you assume with conviction sets the stage for all experiences. To assume is not to hope or wish, it is to accept something as already true. When you live in the assumption that all things are working together for your good, you are making a declaration to the universe, an inner decree that shapes every event, circumstance, and encounter in your life. The external world cannot resist the command of your inner belief. It organizes itself according to the pattern of your assumption. Assumption is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. You do not need to know how things will happen, nor do you need to see the evidence first. Your responsibility is to hold the reality you desire as if it already exists. When you assume that life is conspiring in your favor, the universe aligns to reflect that inner reality. Doors open that seemed locked, opportunities appear that were previously hidden, and people and circumstances begin to move in harmony with your assumption. What you hold firmly in consciousness is the seed from which your outer experiences grow. The mind naturally seeks to justify what it believes. When you assume positively, your thoughts, words, and actions are automatically guided to reflect that assumption. Even challenges and obstacles begin to rearrange themselves in ways that serve your highest good. This is the subtle yet undeniable law of assumption. Reality does not contradict your inner state. It mirrors it perfectly. Therefore, when you assume that all things are working together for your benefit, you are essentially commanding reality from within. Every event, no matter how small, becomes a reflection of that inner certainty. Most people allow external circumstances to shape their assumptions. They see a delay, a disappointment, or a difficulty, and immediately assume that life is against them. But the awakened mind does the opposite. It assumes first and lets the outer world adjust to match that inner conviction. The act of assuming consciously requires courage and discipline, for it often goes against what the senses report. Yet it is precisely this act that creates miracles. What you assume in your consciousness is far more real than the fleeting appearances around you, because consciousness is the cause, and the world is merely the effect. Assumption is also a practice of imagination and feeling. To assume that all things are working together for your good is to dwell in the feeling of certainty, as if your desires are already fulfilled. Your emotions are powerful indicators of your assumptions. When you feel the reality of your assumption, your inner vibration resonates with the energy of creation itself. This alignment activates the unseen forces, orchestrating circumstances that bring your inner belief into physical manifestation. The key is consistency. It is not enough to assume once and then doubt. The mind and heart must dwell continually in the assumption that everything is harmonizing for your benefit. Each thought, each emotion, and each action should reinforce this inner reality. Over time, what was once imagined becomes your tangible experience. Life bends effortlessly to match the pattern of your assumption. The unseen obeys the law of belief, and creation always fulfills what you assume with unwavering faith. Before the world awakens in full force, before the demands, distractions, and voices of others pull at your attention, there is a sacred window of silence, a space in which the mind and heart can align with the divine current that governs all things. This is the moment to center yourself, to step inward, and to rise above the outer noise that threatens to scatter your focus and weaken your faith. The clamor of the world, its opinions, its fears, its urgencies, cannot penetrate the quiet mind that has been intentionally stilled in faith. By consciously withdrawing from this noise, you create a space where divine orchestration can move without resistance, where the unseen hand can arrange events in perfect order on your behalf. Silencing the outer noise is not merely about avoiding distraction, it is about tuning your inner frequency to the source of all creation. The world around you is a mirror reflecting the state of your consciousness. If your mind is filled with chaos, worry, or reactive thought, your day will reflect that disorder. But if you begin in stillness, affirming the certainty of divine guidance and trusting that all is working in your favor, the world begins to rearrange itself around that inner alignment. Opposition and obstacles, no matter how imposing they may seem, are powerless against the force of your centered faith. When you rise early, before the day's responsibilities clamor for your attention, you step into a sacred laboratory of creation. In this silence, you can speak to the invisible realm with clarity and certainty. You can visualize, affirm, and feel the reality you wish to see, knowing that the universe responds to the energy of your conviction. This is not wishful thinking. It is the conscious act of alignment. The outer world cannot manifest anything contrary to the vibration you hold within. When your mind is quiet and your faith unwavering, even the strongest opposition bends, shifts, and dissolves to make way for the unfolding of your desired reality. Faith thrives in stillness because it is in silence that you perceive the subtle guidance of divine intelligence. The answers, inspirations, and confirmations you seek do not come from the outer world, but from the inner sanctuary of your being. By silencing external distractions, you allow yourself to hear the whisper of direction that orchestrates all things in perfect timing. This is why prayer, meditation, and early morning reflection are not optional. They are essential practices for those who wish to live in alignment with their highest potential. The day, when approached from chaos, becomes a battlefield. The day, when approached from centered faith, becomes a stage upon which miracles unfold effortlessly. These are personal. The practice of silencing the outer noise is also an act of protection. It shields your consciousness from fear, doubt, and the energies of others that may not serve your highest good. By beginning the day in deliberate stillness, you fortify your mind and heart against distraction, allowing faith to take the lead. Every thought, every feeling, and every action throughout the day flows more smoothly when the first moments are invested in quiet alignment with the divine current. Life first ends in quiet alignment with the divine current. To center yourself in faith before the day begins is to acknowledge a profound truth. No opposition can stand against divine orchestration. What may appear as delay, resistance, or challenge is often a sign of unseen forces preparing the way for your highest good. When you begin in silence, trusting fully, you move through the day unshaken, carrying the certainty that all is already working in your favor. The outer noise may rage, but the inner stillness is invincible. It is in this sacred silence that your faith grows, your reality aligns, and miracles become inevitable. Gratitude is the language of the soul, the expression of faith made visible, and the most powerful force you can bring into the first moments of your day. When you begin your morning in gratitude, you are no longer petitioning the universe or negotiating with life. You are aligning yourself with the certainty that what you desire is already yours. To be grateful is to acknowledge the unseen as present, the invisible as real, and the promises of life as already fulfilled. It is a recognition that the divine intelligence governing your life is not distant or indifferent, but actively working to bring forth your highest good. Gratitude is the natural outflow of faith, the tangible proof that what you believe inwardly is already manifesting outwardly. Starting the day with gratitude shifts your consciousness from lack to abundance, from doubt to certainty, and from fear to trust. Most people begin their mornings by thinking of what is missing, what went wrong yesterday, or what problems may arise today. But the awakened soul begins by dwelling on what is already given, what is already completed, and what is already moving in their favor. Gratitude is not passive. It is a creative act. When you feel gratitude for your desires before they appear, you are planting energetic seeds that the universe responds to. You are effectively telling life, I trust that all is done, all is mine, and all is arranged perfectly. This vibration of thankfulness is irresistible to the unseen forces. It draws to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that align with your inner certainty. Expressing gratitude first thing in the morning transforms your day. It changes the lens through which you perceive every experience. Challenges become lessons, delays become guidance, and what once seemed like lack becomes preparation for greater fulfillment. The mind attuned to gratitude sees solutions instead of problems, blessings instead of obstacles, and possibilities instead of limitations. This is why the practice of gratitude is so deeply tied to faith. It embodies the belief that your life is already ordered in perfection, that every detail, seen and unseen, is arranged to bring you closer to the fulfillment of your desires. To practice gratitude effectively, imagine and feel your desires as already realized. Thank life for the success you seek, the love you wish to receive, the opportunities that are coming, and the health, prosperity, and peace that are already present in divine form. Speak words of thanks, write them, or simply feel them deeply within your being. By doing so, you are aligning your emotional and mental state with the reality you wish to experience. The vibration of gratitude acts as a magnet, drawing the external world to match the internal state of your mind. Gratitude protects your faith from doubt. When you begin the day acknowledging what is already working for you, you are less likely to be swayed by appearances or temporary setbacks. It creates a shield of assurance that the divine is orchestrating all events in perfect timing. You walk through the day knowing that what is unseen is as real, as present, and as active as anything you can see. In this state, nothing can disturb your peace, nothing can diminish your certainty, and miracles become the natural expression of your inner alignment. Gratitude is therefore not simply a polite acknowledgement, it is faith in action. It is the outward expression of an inward knowing, the living proof that the life you imagine and believe is already unfolding. To begin your day in gratitude is to step into a current of divine fulfillment, to move through the hours with confidence, joy, and expectation, and to witness the unseen made visible as all things work together for your highest good. As we bring this reflection to a close, remember that your morning set the tone for your entire life. Every day offers a sacred opportunity to align with the divine intelligence that moves unseen, orchestrating everything in your favor. When you start your day with faith, when you assume the good, silence the distractions, and express gratitude as if your desires are already fulfilled, you step into a life of effortless flow and divine orchestration. The world around you is a mirror, reflecting the state of your inner consciousness. By nurturing faith, belief, and gratitude within, you transform not only your day, but your entire reality. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and every detail, seen or unseen, is working together to bring you closer to your highest good. And you limit all of concentration. If you believe good, so rise each morning with confidence, knowing that the power within you, aligned with the divine, shapes your life beyond measure. Trust in the unseen, hold fast to your assumptions, and let gratitude guide your heart. When you live in this awareness, miracles cease to be extraordinary, they become the natural rhythm of your life. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts with you today. May you step into each morning with unwavering faith, knowing that God is making everything work for you. My friend, there comes a sacred moment in every life, a quiet, almost invisible turning of the tide. A moment when the unseen world begins to move in your favor, long before you can see any evidence in the outer world. And the truth is, the shift begins within you. The first sign that everything is shifting in your favor is peace. Not the kind that comes from things going right, but the kind that appears even when nothing seems to be working. You stop fighting, stop forcing, and something within you says, I trust the process. That peace is not weakness, it is alignment. It's the sign that your inner world has agreed with your destiny. Then come the closed doors. Opportunities you thought were certain fall apart. People walk away, plans dissolve, and yet something in you no longer panics. You begin to see that every ending is not punishment, it's positioning. The universe never removes what belongs to you, it only clears what blocks it. The old must leave before the new can arrive. You may notice delays, moments where nothing seems to move forward, but these pauses are not empty. They are holy recalibrations. What you call delay, heaven calls design. The timing of your promise is being adjusted to meet you at the perfect intersection of readiness and purpose. Then, suddenly, your vision is reborn. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. Your imagination becomes vivid. You start to feel the joy of what you desire as though it's already here. And that feeling, that deep inner conviction, is creation itself. Reality begins to conform to the image held within you. Huh? And as your awareness expands, signs begin to align. You overhear a word that confirms your dream. You meet someone who opens a door. Coincidences appear so perfectly timed that you realize there are no coincidences. These are the fingerprints of divine orchestration, subtle but undeniable. And then comes the greatest sign of all, a knowing. You stop begging for proof. You stop doubting the outcome. You walk with quiet confidence, not because you've seen it, but because you know it's already done. That inner knowing is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Once you reach that state, nothing can stop the manifestation of what you've already accepted as truth. So if your world feels uncertain, if things are shifting and breaking apart, don't be discouraged. The soil must be broken before new life can rise. The old pattern must crumble before your divine pattern can emerge. This is not chaos, it's construction. This is not delay, it's divine alignment. This is not loss, it's the making of room for more. Everything, even what seems against you, is working for you. The shift is already in motion. Trust the unseen hand that guides all things. Your time has come, your path is clear, and your favor is unfolding right now. There is a sacred moment in every journey when peace arrives before the miracle. It comes quietly, almost unnoticed, in the midst of chaos. Everything around you may appear uncertain. The finances, the relationships, the career, the path forward, yet something within you begins to settle. It's as if a still voice rises from within and says, "Be still, it's already handled." That calmness is not denial, it's divine alignment. It's the whisper of your higher self, confirming that the outer world is preparing to reflect what you have already accepted in faith. When you reach the place of inner peace, before outer change, it means you've stopped wrestling with appearances. You've stopped reacting to what you see and started trusting what you know. This is a holy transition point, the moment when you begin living from the end rather than striving to reach it. The mind that once panicked begins to rest. You no longer feel the need to control every outcome, because deep down you sense that everything is already unfolding as it should. You understand that peace is not the reward of change, it is the seed that causes change. That peace is not weakness, it's not passivity, it's power in its purest form. It's the kind of quiet strength that no storm can shake, because it comes from knowing that the storm itself is working for you. When your heart grows calm, despite the noise around you, you have aligned yourself with divine order. You have entered the flow of life rather than fighting against it. And when you are in flow, the universe responds to your stillness with movement. The outer world must reorganize to mirror your inner conviction. Many people wait for circumstances to calm down before they allow themselves to feel peace. But that is backward. True transformation begins when you choose peace first. The chaos outside is merely a reflection of the conflict within. Once you release resistance inside, once you stop doubting, fearing, and forcing, the reflection must shift. Life is a mirror. The moment you see peace in your heart, the mirror of reality begins to show peace in form. This inner stillness is a sign that your faith has matured. You have stopped asking when and how because you already feel the reality of what you desire. You may not have the evidence yet, but you no longer need it. You have stepped into the vibration of fulfillment. That feeling of calm certainty is creation itself taking root. It's the invisible phase of manifestation, the soil of faith nurturing the seed of your desire until it blossoms into sight. So when peace shows up in the middle of your storm, don't dismiss it. Recognize it as the first sign that everything is shifting in your favor. The world around you may still look the same for a while, but beneath the surface, movement has begun. The universe always responds to a calm and trusting heart. That stillness is proof that your prayer has been heard, your desire has been accepted, and your new reality is already on its way. There comes a time in every person's life when doors begin to close. Opportunities fade, relationships drift apart, plans collapse, and paths that once felt promising suddenly come to an end. In those moments, the natural reaction is to question, to resist, to grieve what's being lost. Yet, what appears as rejection is often the most loving redirection. When an old door closes, it is not life punishing you. It is life preparing you. It's the universe saying, this chapter has served its purpose. It's time for something greater. The truth is, not every door is meant to stay open forever. Some were never designed to carry you into the next season of your purpose. We often hold on to things out of comfort, fear, or familiarity. But destiny requires release. When you cling to what's ending, you delay what's beginning. The art of grace lies in letting go, not with bitterness or regret, but with gratitude for what was and trust in what's coming. The gentle closing of a door is not an act of loss, it's an act of alignment. Life is moving you from what no longer fits to what perfectly suits the person you are becoming. Think about the rhythm of nature. Seasons change without resistance. The tree doesn't mourn its fallen leaves. It knows new ones will grow in time. Likewise, your life has seasons. There are doors that must close so you can evolve into who you were always meant to be. The job that ended, the friendship that faded, the opportunity that slipped away. Each was a stepping stone, not a destination. When a door closes, it's because the chapter it opened has completed its divine assignment. The graceful closing of old doors is one of the clearest signs that everything is shifting in your favor. You may not see it at first, but life is rearranging itself to make room for something more aligned, more authentic, and more fulfilling. If you look closely, you'll notice that each ending carries a silent invitation to trust. To trust that what is leaving is making space for what is meant to stay. To trust that your path is guided, even when it feels uncertain. Endings test your faith. They reveal whether you believe that life works for you or against you. But once you recognize that divine intelligence governs every event, you stop calling it rejection and start calling it redirection. You realize that the closing door is mercy in disguise, removing you from places, people, and patterns that could not hold your next level. So when something ends, thank it, bless it, release it with grace. For if the door had not closed, you might have stayed too long in a place beneath your potential. Let every ending remind you that your story is still unfolding, that new doors are already forming beyond your sight. When one closes gently, another begins to open quietly. Trust the rhythm, trust the shift. Every closed door is leading you closer to what was always meant for you. Delays are one of life's greatest teachers. They test patience, stretch faith, and expose the difference between wanting control and trusting divine order. When things do not unfold according to your schedule, it is easy to assume something has gone wrong. But in truth, delay is rarely denial. It is a divine pause, a purposeful recalibration of timing. The unseen hand that governs your path knows the precise moment when conditions align for your highest good. What feels like waiting is often protection, preparation, and positioning, all happening behind the scenes. When your prayers seem unanswered, it does not mean they were ignored. It means the answer is still being arranged. Imagine a seed buried in the soil. You do not dig it up every day to check its progress. You trust that unseen growth is taking place beneath the surface. The same is true in your life. The moment you set an intention, the universe begins to rearrange circumstances to bring it into form. But certain elements must mature first. The right people, opportunities, and even the right version of you. If what you desire arrived too soon, it might overwhelm or slip away because you weren't yet ready to hold it. Delays serve as mirrors reflecting your inner state. They reveal whether your faith is anchored in outcomes or in the deeper knowing that everything unfolds at the right time. During these waiting periods, you are being refined. Your character is being shaped, your endurance strengthened, your vision clarified. The delay is not empty time, it is sacred preparation. Just as an archer pulls the bowstring backward to launch the arrow forward, life sometimes pulls you into stillness to build momentum for your next leap. Sometimes the delay is protection. The door that didn't open, the deal that fell through, the relationship that didn't progress, each may have been a shield against something that would have harmed your peace or diverted your path. There are forces beyond your awareness working to preserve your purpose. What you perceive as stagnation is often divine strategy. The universe is not withholding your blessing, it's ensuring that when it arrives, it can last. This understanding transforms waiting from frustration into faith. You stop fighting the flow and begin trusting the timing. You realize that the delay itself is part of the blessing. Because when the right time comes, what took years to build can manifest in a moment. Every seeming setback becomes evidence that the universe is paying attention to details you cannot yet see. So, when life seems to pause, do not lose heart. Keep nurturing your vision, keep standing in belief, and let patience become your prayer. What is meant for you is never lost, it is simply being timed perfectly. The delay is the universe saying, wait, I'm making it better. And when it finally unfolds, you will understand why you had to wait. Because what comes at the right time feels effortless, complete, and destined. There is a sacred moment in life when your imagination awakens again, when what once felt impossible begins to stir inside you with new life. It may happen quietly, after a long season of doubt or disappointment, but you suddenly feel something shifting within. The dream that seemed lost begins to breathe again. Ideas flow, hope returns. You start to see possibilities instead of limitations. This is not random inspiration. It is a sign that your spirit has caught sight of what's already forming in the unseen. When your vision is renewed, it means creation has already begun. Desire is not born from emptiness, it is born from alignment. The longing that rises in your heart is not a signal of lack but of potential calling you forward. Every renewed dream is a message from the higher dimension of your being, a reminder of what is waiting to unfold through you. The moment you begin to imagine your desire vividly, feeling it as though it were already yours, you activate the law of correspondence between the inner and outer worlds. What you hold in your inner vision must eventually take form in your outer experience. When your imagination becomes alive, you no longer see your desire as something distant. You begin to feel it. You walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You may catch yourself smiling for no reason, sensing that something beautiful is near. This is the bridge of faith, the invisible path between what is unseen and what will soon be seen. That sense of aliveness, that emotional certainty, is proof that the new reality is already forming itself around your vibration. Renewed vision often follows a period of darkness. When life has stripped you of old patterns and false hopes, space is created for true inspiration to emerge. The emptiness you once resented becomes the womb of new creation. Suddenly, clarity returns, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. You see from a higher perspective now, and what once seemed too big to believe becomes natural to expect. Your imagination is the birthplace of all manifestation. Everything that ever came into existence first lived in someone's inner world. When you imagine your dream with conviction and emotion, you are not fantasizing, you are creating. The mind does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. Therefore, each time you dwell in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you impress it upon the unseen substance of life, commanding it to take form. So when your vision stirs again and your heart burns with fresh desire, don't dismiss it. It's not wishful thinking, it's revelation. It's evidence that you've entered a new frequency of possibility. The moment your imagination feels real, your world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. Every renewed desire is the universe saying, it's time. So honor it, nurture it, and believe in it. For what you are now seeing within is already being shaped without. The dream is alive, and it's becoming your reality. There comes a point on your journey when life begins to weave together in ways that feel almost magical. You start noticing patterns, a conversation that arrives at the perfect time, a message that answers a silent question, a chance meeting that opens an unexpected door. These are not random events. They are the quiet signatures of divine orchestration, reminders that an unseen intelligence is arranging every detail with precision and care. When circumstances align effortlessly, it is a sign that you have moved into harmony with your higher purpose, and that divine favor is actively guiding your path. Coincidences are the universe's way of remaining anonymous. What we often call luck or chance is actually the manifestation of a deeper order responding to the vibration of your inner state. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs come into alignment with your vision, the outer world must respond. The right people appear, the right opportunities unfold. The timing becomes flawless. What used to feel like struggle now feels like flow, because you are no longer forcing life, you are cooperating with it. Synchronicities serve as affirmations that you are exactly where you need to be. They whisper, keep going, you're on the right path. Each one is a mirror reflecting your inner readiness. When you are filled with faith and expectancy, you magnetize events that confirm your belief. The world rearranges itself to match the energy you radiate. It's as though the universe bends time and space to make sure you meet who you're meant to meet and arrive where you're meant to arrive. Not a moment too soon, not a second too late. These divine alignments are often subtle, but their impact is profound. You might find that someone mentions an idea you were just thinking about. A door you didn't even knock on suddenly opens. Or perhaps a delay you once resented turns out to be the reason you were in the right place at the right time. Each encounter, each so-called coincidence, is evidence that the invisible realm is in motion on your behalf. When you begin to live in awareness of this orchestration, life feels different. Anxiety fades because you realize you're not navigating alone. You sense a rhythm, a divine timing that underlies everything. You start trusting your intuition more because you see how perfectly it guides you. You stop chasing and start allowing, knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Exploration conspires to prove you right. Every event, every meeting, every delay carries purpose. When you live from a place of gratitude, peace, and conviction that all things are working in your favor, creation conspires to prove you right. Every event, every meeting, every delay carries purpose. So when things start falling into place, when timing feels too precise to be random, pause and acknowledge it. You are witnessing divine favor at work. The unseen has become seen. The orchestration is unfolding, and life is showing you that everything truly is shifting in your favor. There comes a sacred turning point in every journey of faith where striving ceases and peace takes its place. It is the moment when you no longer feel the need to chase, to prove, or to question. You simply know. This deep inner knowing is not an emotion that rises and falls with circumstances. It is a quiet certainty anchored in truth. You may not see the evidence yet, but something within you has already received the promise. It feels complete, finished, already accomplished in the unseen realm. That still, unwavering confidence is the ultimate sign that the shift within you and around you is complete. This knowing does not come from effort. It comes from surrender. It emerges after you have walked through the phases of doubt, fear, and waiting. You have released control and learned to trust the unseen process. When you finally stop asking when and how, when you stop searching for signs and start resting in assurance, you have stepped into the vibration of fulfillment. You are no longer a seeker, you have become a possessor. You have accepted that what you desire is already yours. And the world is simply catching up to that reality. This inner certainty feels different from hope. Hope reaches forward, knowing stands still. Hope anticipates, knowing declares, it is done. When you enter this state, you no longer feel anxiety about outcomes because you understand that creation is complete the moment you believe it to be. Everything that follows is just the unfolding of what already exists in the unseen. The outer world becomes a reflection, not a determinant of your faith. When you reach this depth of awareness, even the things that appear contrary no longer disturb you. You may encounter temporary setbacks, but they cannot shake your peace because you understand they are only part of the alignment process. You stop reacting to appearances because you know appearances are transient, but truth is eternal. You carry yourself differently There is a quiet authority in your demeanor, not arrogance but assurance. You no longer need to convince anyone, not even yourself. You rest in the confidence that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what is yours is already established. This deep knowing transforms the atmosphere around you. It attracts the very reality you have already accepted within. People sense it. Circumstances shift to reflect it. The universe responds to certainty because certainty is faith fulfilled. The moment you feel that calm assurance, that inner declaration that says, it's already mine, creation moves to honor it. Nothing can stand against the vibration of completion. So if you find yourself in that sacred stillness, not striving, not worrying, but quietly knowing, rejoice. You have entered the state of manifestation. The struggle is over because alignment is complete. You have crossed the threshold from believing to being. And once you know, there is nothing left to chase, nothing left to prove. The unseen has already become real, and all that remains is for time to reveal what your spirit has already received. When you begin to recognize peace in chaos, grace in endings, purpose in delays, renewal in vision, alignment in circumstances, and a deep knowing within, it becomes clear that everything is shifting in your favor. Life is not against you, it is guiding you. Every challenge, every pause, every closed door has been preparing you for this season of divine alignment. The shift isn't happening around you, it's happening through you. Trust that the unseen hand of creation is working behind every detail, arranging all things for your good. You are not waiting for favor, you are walking in it. The moment you choose faith over fear, stillness over striving, and knowing over doubt, you step fully into your destined flow. Thank you for listening. May you walk forward with peace, confidence, and the unshakable assurance that everything is indeed working in your favor.